are here gathered, looking at something and hearing something and discussing something that many people are not knowledgeable about outside there, because it's not taught in its widest context, in the history books, in the lecture rooms, and wherever the children go. The very notion, the very idea that an African monarch can send emissaries to Her Majesty Queen Victoria here in the United Kingdom is something alien. It would be something that would turn people's understanding of history and colonial history upside down. Because they would not be able to comprehend, to say, do you mean to say that these African monarchs were recognized as African monarchs in the fullest context, to the extent of sending emissaries to Her Majesty Queen Victoria? And that's what the film here opens up. It opens up that discussion, that indeed it was so. Here we're seeing the emissaries that came from King Nobegula. A few years prior to that, we had the king himself of the Zulu nation, Mthwakazi, coming here also himself, being hosted here in Buckingham Palace, sitting before the Queen, sitting before the Queen's council, advisors and advocates. And so here, after many years, we're now beginning to open that book. Open that book that says, yes, within the African context, within the African people, they were recognized as monarchs. They were recognized as monarchs that had judiciaries. They were recognized as monarchs that had the faith groups and the church groups indigenous upon themselves. We therefore are pushed to ask the question, do we call them tribes or do we call them nations? Do we call them tribes or do we call them nations? The definition of a nation is a people in a geographical location that has language, customs, traditions, culture, etiquette, attire, cuisine, poetry, art, music. These Africans had it. Therefore, we cannot call them tribes. These were nations. A nation discussing with another nation. It is strange that the story before us here of King Nobegula in the 1890s is now playing out once again in that same geographical location, Zimbabwe 2023. Somehow, in the goodness of the Almighty's knowledge, He only showed a little of the wealth that nation has, that area has. We come full circle to suddenly find, lo and behold, more wealth that was hidden in the past, but is now coming to the forefront suddenly in front of the world. It is not normal to suddenly find a country like Zimbabwe in its current status quo, with the disputed elections that occurred. In the midst of all of that, to find the likes of Richard Branson, George Soros, many of the global, international business people flying down to that locality. These are men and women that have wealth coursing through their veins. They can sense wealth a mile away. It is instinctive upon them to know where the going will be good the next time out. We are back there again. We are talking about the electric car here. Elon Musk is talking about also the Chrysler, the electric car going through. And they're all touching on the hard issue of how do you make the lithium actually. And lithium is all over that country. How strange. How strange does the Almighty do his things? It is therefore incumbent upon all of us here, who have been cast to the four winds of the world, who have managed to get knowledge, experience, to come to the fore. That this time round, the African people will get a proper deal. We have eminent lawyers amongst us. We have constitutional experts amongst us. We have negotiators amongst us. This time, we must get the appropriate deal. We must get the proper recognition. I began my talk here touching on the matter there that we're here for today, King Mzilikazi Day. I'm here in my official capacity as the chief from that kingdom. Therefore, I cannot just simply talk to you without at least showing my due respect to my monarch that is there. Wena wezu. Wena wezu. Wena wezu.
Wena wezu.
Wena wezu.
Wena wezu.
Gangezwe.
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 Sithi bayethe Nkosi.
Bayethe Nkosi.
Bayethe Nkosi.
Bayethe Nkosi.
Bayethe Nkosi.
Bayethe Nkosi.
Translated there is my role, greeting to my role, my monarch. I'm singing his praises. I'm saying you are as large as the sky. You are as large as the universe. You are as large as the biggest animal in the bush, the elephant. You embody all of us. We call him our monarch, and yet in the same breath, we call him our child. Because he belongs to us. It is the people that chose him and chose the royal house of Umar, of Mbulazi, to be in charge of that nation. And so for us, he is our child. And being our child, we therefore need to cuddle him and protect him and monitor him to make sure that our child sees another day. To make sure that the royal house sees another day. There have been many discussions over the last year about, is he the one? Was the job done right? Were things done inappropriate? You can hear from the horse's mouth for you. Who was there during the entire course of those proceedings? Proceedings that were started by my late father, Paramount Chief Ndiweni, who was a chief in the office for 71 years. Not his age on this earth, but the years he spent in the office as a chief, 71 years. It is highly unlikely, it is highly improbable that such an individual would make a blunder in the seeking of the heir apparent. Such things do not happen. Those who think that happen then are not of a sound mind. Such individuals do not make mistakes. And so we followed his path into the house of Khumalo. And we followed due process and due law under our customs, traditions, and practices and norms in such circumstances, in ascertaining the right house. And the right house was found. 1893, His Royal Majesty King Nkungqulu disappeared. Our monarch went with him, died. It took us another 126 years to go back and find his seed, who is there today, who is our monarch today. The fact that we have not had the official crowning is neither here nor there. The day the king of the Zulus passed away, Zwelithini, was the day the next Zulu king was anointed. There was no gap. And yet his official crowning occurred many months after that. And so it is with all other monarchs that you see, even here in the United Kingdom. When Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth passed away, that very same day, Prince Charles, Prince of Wales, who is now King Charles III, was crowned king. On that very day, there was not 1 minute this country did not have a monarch. And yet King Charles would be crowned officially many months after that day. And so it is with our monarch as well. We were there when the official private crowning of the monarch was done in Kuabulawayo. The private anointing within the clan Khumalo of the house Khumalo. We now await an opportune time so that we can crown the grandson, the great-great-great-grandson of King Mzilikazi to the monarch there amongst ourselves in southern Zimbabwe. I bring this issue here because I have been biting my tongue for quite some time, allowing people to speak. People must talk. People must engage each other and discuss. It is only then at the end of time that we bring in pertinent information of what it is that happened and how it transpired. King Mzilikazi, a nation builder, a warrior, a general, a strategist, who left KwaZulu-Natal because of a difference of opinion between his then monarch, Shaka Zulu, headed due north to go and find a new kingdom for his people. That journey of his stopped at the flat-top mountain that he had been advised to go and see, to say, there is your land. The mountain, which is called Mthwakazi, the hill of the chiefs, is there today. And it is there that this nation once more took root. From a small group of individuals that left with King Mzilikazi, they arrived as a fully-fledged nation at the sides of Mthwakazi, the head of the chiefs. In his journey, King Mzilikazi brought together many nations. In those days, in those historical days, as it was in Europe, So it was in the African continent, it was conquest. It was challenges amongst monarchies. That was the order of the day. And so by the time he arrived at Zimbabwe, it was a hybrid nation that he brought there. Because you could find amongst those people Zulus, Xhosas, Mandebeles, Swatis, Fondo. You could find over 15 different people, 15 different languages within his one nation. He built up that nation in that locality. And when it came to pass by, his son, Lobengula, took over from him. The one who we saw the pictures there about him sending emissaries here to the United Kingdom. I would like, good people, that from this very short speech here, if there is a takeaway that we can take away with, is the knowledge that you are a rich people. You are a people that have been endowed and blessed with so much. You should be able to hold your head up high, no matter where you are. Even if you should wake up in Alaska today and you are the only black, you should feel solid and proud about yourself. Knowing yourself. Not being coward, not being forced to look down when you speak to other nations. Stand up, open your eyes, look them in the eye. You have a right to set your footprint upon this earth, just like they do. I'm bringing over courage too, because we are looking at different times, changing times, and they all require that we know ourselves. To the youngsters, I see some of them here. Your parents must impart this knowledge to you. It is your heritage. I grew up and went to a secondary school, a boarding secondary school, whereby there were over 700 pupils in that school. 699 of them were white. I was the only black. There were fights, there were challenges, there was everything there. But I knew I could stand up amongst them and say, yes, my name is Ndiweni. I am from the house Ndiweni, of the clan Ndiweni, of the Amangwe household from KwaZulu. I forgot my North Hill. It is that knowledge which my parents gave to me that enabled me to hold my ground. Whether it was on the football pitch, whether it was on the rugby pitch, whether it was in the science labs, whether it was in the maths classroom, whether it was in the biology classroom, wherever I was, I could hold my own, not in an arrogant way, but in a way where I was self-assured of who I am. I say these things to you good people so that the youngsters here may be given that same opportunity here in the United Kingdom. That although we are talking about King Mzilikazi Day from way back, what he stood for is still relevant today. What he was is still relevant today. And should embolden us to stand our own. And I emphasize, not in an arrogant way, but in a self-assured and the self-confidence. Because what is very clear now is that the future of that land where he was is in our hands, we who are here outside. In Zimbabwe, they have tried their best. We cannot ask more. But the time has come, once again, the time has come for a diaspora people to wake up, to come together, for the goodness of the country they live back. History book is full of such examples of whereby people that have been thrown outside the country are the ones who return and uplift and build up the country. That time has now come unto us. That time has come unto us. And so I thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much indeed. So,